Listen, everybody, I'm going to stop YouTube for the next month and just focus on this. No videos coming up because of Dr. Tess.
It's really important to share that stuff, that it's okay to be human.
I feel bad. I hate disappointing people, so here I am with disappointed people.
And that's what we're trying to explore, the other flavors of Evan.
Tess causing me stress.
I'm dreaming, oh, I believe in this dream I've been dreaming, oh, I'm dreaming, oh, I believe in this dream I've been dreaming, oh.
It's Dr. Tess! And I was thinking, did people used to rhyme your name with things?
Sometimes.
Like what? What would Tess get rhymed with?
Is the best.
That's what I was thinking! Was that legit? Did it actually happen? Tess is the best?
Yeah.
That's great.
I think with the Australian sarcasm in it, you know.
Oh. Oh, really? It could have been Tess is a mess or something.
Never. Well, I don't know.
That actually rhymes more than best. Mess rhymes more than Tess. Tess is a stretch because it's got the T.
What are you trying to tell me, Evan?
I don't know. It's what's on my mind. So Tess is here to help me grow my YouTube channel to 10 million subscribers by making Evan Carmichael a better human.
Did you do your homework, Evan?
I did. I got my note. I got my book here.
Oh my gosh, you did too. I'm so impressed. I was actually rehearsing in my head in the bathroom. I was rehearsing in my head, having to kick your ass this morning. So now I
do my homework.
Well, there's a precedence.
Wow. Listen, I always do my homework. It's just the last one I didn't think was actually that important to you. But then when you said it was important, I did it. No, I do my homework. I like the test challenges. Although
you are actually pretty good.
Yeah, I do my homework. When I respect the person, I do my homework. When I don't, then I don't.
Thank you.
Well, I'm a great student when I want to be, but otherwise I'm a terrible student. It all depends.
Yeah, I get that.
Teacher and that. Okay, so
how'd you go with it?
So last time you said to come up with a list of my limiting beliefs.
Yes.
And I had my first one, which is my fear of disappointing people. And then I asked you for one that you thought about me, which is, let's see if I word it correctly, because people got confused over my understanding of what you thought was your limiting belief.
People got confused or you got confused?
People thought that I was confused by what you were saying.
Okay.
Yeah. So how I understood it, and maybe I'm wrong, was that you think that I think that I don't want people to see a negative side of me or the bad parts, or I don't think people want to see that stuff, and so I don't share it. I'm afraid of it.
I think that you're afraid of it. What you wrote is probably fairly a good thing to focus on as a belief. Okay. It's not a negative. It's one of those assumptions that people only want to see the positive, that people aren't interested in the whole rounded person. I mean, that's for you to explore whether that's how you feel or not, but or what you believe or not. But I think it's a good one to explore. So you tell me what you discovered, because I think the whole point, and I did watch your chat with Mark as well. The whole point was for you to discover, are there some rough edges that you've trained yourself to smooth out that you're not noticing? And your great resource, which is it's the best, is sometimes perhaps keeping you at a surface level. So I'll give you an example. Before I started studying psychology, I went and saw a counsellor for a little while. And we got talking about my childhood, which was a little bit rough. And she said to me, there's no emotion there. You intellectualize. Your whole history is an intellectual list of things. There's no depth of emotion there. I'm not saying you lack depth of emotion, but what I mean is that there's also this, it's almost like a survival strategy that becomes a habit, that becomes a successful strategy. For some people, it's the other way around. Survival strategies that become blocks to successful emotion management. So you see that in a lot of people who have ongoing difficulties dealing with their emotions. I don't think you have difficulties. You've trained yourself to be this positive Evan. And I guess the conversation is around, is there a roundedness that people are missing out on seeing? And that's what we're trying to explore. the other flavors of Evan, because you're all rainbow ice cream at the moment. Is there chocolate? Is there
when I can bring it to the conscious, then I flip it. Whether I'm sharing that or not.
And that's what I mean.
Yeah, just for myself.
And that's a skill. Yeah, and that's a skill.
Yeah.
That's a skill. It's bringing to mind what Mark Drager posted the other day about how hard business ownership and entrepreneurialism can be, and how sometimes we don't talk often enough about the realities of how hard that can be, to normalize it for other people. And I guess it's on a similar wavelength. This conversation is on a similar wavelength of that whole positive that you've trained yourself to be, that 100% positive all the time because you kick it out. It's great to be able to teach people how to do that, but they can't learn how to do that if they're not seeing where you start from.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's great. Tess is the best.
I haven't even had coffee.
So you asked me limiting beliefs, and then you said, what triggers them? What strategies do I use? And when does it happen in real time? So I've been trying to pay attention because you don't want me to do it right away. Don't do it right now. Pay attention over the next month. So
yeah. So did you do that?
Tess causing me stress. And there's another one. Yes. The stress test, the test stress. Yes. So I had a couple things that came to mind. I had 3 examples that came up recently because I've been trying to pay attention. So when we get in our call, I have something to. I don't want to disappoint you. See, I don't want to disappoint people. No, I did my homework. Did my homework. Yeah. So like, what triggers me? I got to talk to Tess. So I got to review my notes. What strategies I use? That's what I did just before. Even though I did it, like, okay, I got to make sure I know what I'm talking about. So when we get on, I'm not fumbling around. And that is it happening in real time, I guess. So a couple of things. One, we messed up big time on my YouTube channel and posted 200 videos all at once. This was 2 days ago. 2 days ago? 2 days ago. Yeah. 200 videos all at once. I destroyed everybody's subscription feed because when they go to their subscription feed, it's like all my videos. And they weren't even full videos. They were for my book, Top 10 Rules to Success. We made 200 videos that are supposed to be morning meditation. Here's a video, and then think about it. 5-minute quick videos that weren't supposed to be released like that, or maybe ever like public like that. But anyway, we messed up. 200 videos. I lost 6,000 subscribers in one day, and then 500 in the next. They were starting to come back up. Apologized in my community tab on my YouTube. But you still can't get to everybody. And like most people don't even know why this happened. Responded to every comment, posted updates. Most of them are positive. It's like, hey, if they want to unfollow you, like, forget them. You know, they weren't hardcore Believe Nation fans. And anyway, so I'm apologizing to some people and just more showing gratitude, love, appreciation for the people who are trying to support me. And through that crisis and pain and like, hey guys, we messed up. And I mean, it's my fault. I'm the leader. This happened on my watch. Like victory or just inspiration and people saying, hey, it's a mistake. And you learn through your mistakes. And all the messages that I would give to people are giving to me. Right.
I love it when people do that. I love it when they're really reflected on what you've said and now they're coaching you with it. I love that.
Yeah. But like at the same time though, I'm not massively in pain. Like I feel bad. I hate disappointing people. So here I am with disappointed people. I lost 6,000 subscribers overnight. But I'm like, okay, how do we solve this problem? You know, we do the best we can. Like I'm going to communicate, over communicate, try to make it up to people. But this is like, I just read into strategy mode more than sitting on something and feeling terrible. Like, how could this happen? It's like not reaming out my team. You guys, I mean, all of my team, well, the 4 key people who were involved in this were all like communicating together and like strategizing and not like, I don't even know whose fault it was. It's multiple people's, but it's not like, you suck for doing this. I hate you. You know, I was like, forget that. Let's go. Like, let's get back on it. Yeah. So that happened. Then I did an IG live with a woman who had way more followers than me. She had like 1.5 million followers or something on Instagram. And I knew nothing about her, and it was a last minute thing. So the guy on my team who set it up said, hey, Evan, last minute, in an hour, you have this Instagram live with this person. And my first thought is, oh my God, holy cow, the panic of the panic of who is this person? I'm not ready, you know.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that triggered it, like the last minute notice. And then like, okay, well, I'm not gonna. I feel it's wrong just to get on and say, hey, tell me your story, and like go in blind and know nothing. I want to research. I want to understand her message. I want to know what she's all about. I want to know some of her stories and her struggles. And when she was 7 years old, this happened and all that stuff. So that I feel more prepared to ask interesting questions. And so that's what led me to like start going down research. And then when I caught that I was feeling overwhelmed or stressed out, I said, this is awesome. Like I get to talk to somebody who's, you know, this is what I want. What do I want to do? Not do big calls. I want to do nobodies all the time. Like, this is great. And then I got excited. Like, and I asked great questions, and I'm a fantastic interviewer. Like, this is the thought that's going on. So by the time I get on the thing with her, I'm like, I'm ready to go. Like, this is gonna be the greatest thing ever. But I had to. It wasn't until I consciously caught. My default was, oh my God, this is happening. Okay, I need to research. Boom, 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 like problem solving mode. And then as soon as I caught myself thinking about it, like, what am I doing? This is amazing. What an opportunity. Thank you. This is great.
So if we go back to when you first found out that you were going to do that interview, do you remember what the words were going through your head, like your immediate reaction? So not just how you felt, that's the emotion, but the thought that was going through.
What if I'm not good enough? Like, what if I do a bad interview? What if I disappoint her? What if I let her down? What if I am not ready? You know? I mean, I'm just guessing. I don't remember saying any of those things, but that's what would be going through my head, probably. Some variation of that. So still in my head still comes down to disappointing people or letting people down, but maybe there's something else you're hearing in those words that means something else.
Yeah, well, the whole what if stuff. I mean, that's all of that catastrophizing, you know, expecting disaster from something. You know, you're feeling that threat reaction of going into something blind and not knowing. You know, you're not in your comfort zone, obviously, when it's someone you don't know anything about. And so then there's this catastrophic, your mind takes over, your fear responses take over and predict all this catastrophes. What if I let her down? What if I suck? What if I don't know what to ask her? All this sort of stuff. What's really interesting in you is that for many people that would escalate, so that would snowball. So that catastrophic thinking is often a big part of an anxiety reaction. So it would snowball and start kicking in the physiological side of the anxiety as well, and snowball until you go into the interview feeling incredibly anxious and nervous and perhaps completely stuff it up, you know, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. So for you, you've got that skill where you're noticing that early enough, and that's what we normally would teach people to do. You're noticing it early enough, grabbing it, and instead of saying, oh my God, I have to do this interview with this person I've never met, you're saying, and it's a simple change, I get to do this amazing interview with this person that I've never met. You change the language and it changes the response. So it changes the physiology, it changes everything else that's going on in here. How did you learn to do that? Like, can you go back and tell me a time when that wasn't possible? Like you felt that you couldn't do that? Was there a time in your life when you struggled to overtake those thoughts that would drive that anxious response?
The one that's coming into my mind was I was going to meet a woman at Starbucks, entrepreneur, pure startup, and I said yes like months before, and like yeah, whatever, we'll meet at Starbucks. I'll help you with your business, even for free, like no charge, just to have a coffee and help. And then I, on the day of, I was secretly hoping that she would cancel on me. And I would do this a lot. I would secretly hope people would cancel on me, right? Like, Evan, I can't make it. I'm sick. I hate you, whatever. I don't care, anything. Just they can't make it. And I would hide it in like, I'm really busy. Like today I got to do all this stuff. And oh my God, I got to meet this woman. And it's going to take 2 hours and but really underneath that, I was just afraid that I was going to disappoint her and let her down. And then up until like half an hour before, she hadn't canceled on me. And so I need to go because not going is an even bigger disappointment than going and sucking, right? So I have to go because I committed to going. So I go and we end up having an amazing time. And I spent about an hour and a half or so with her. And And I walk out, I'm excited and smiling. Like, I know I just helped this woman, give her ideas, belief, like it's amazing. And I get in my car, I'm ready to come home, and I'm like smiling. And then it hit me and I fell back into my chair and I'm like, man, 2 hours ago, I didn't want this to happen. This feeling of how great I am right now is the thing I love doing the most. But 2 hours ago, I was secretly hoping that she would cancel on me. And that's where, like, I need to catch this better. I need to learn how to recognize that more, because humans are built to serve. I love serving, but I'm afraid of disappointment. But then you have it's hands, feet on the gas and a brake, at the same time. You never go anywhere.
Yeah.
So I need to learn. If I love serving, I'm going to have to get over this fear of disappointing people, because otherwise I'll never serve. I'll play small for life. And so that, I think, was the starting point of me recognizing it. I'm still, even with your great words, your kind words and your compliments, I still think like it's probably happening subconsciously a lot that I just never noticed.
Yeah, that's right. I think that's a thread, that fear of disappointment, it's masking fear of not being good enough. And maybe it's a belief of, belief might be too strong a word, but there's this thread underneath, like this undercurrent of not being good enough. And I remember you telling the story of what high achievers your sisters were, and you were having a tough time at school. And I'm not saying that your parents made you feel bad about that, but I'm wondering if those comparisons earlier on at school were part of that. I don't know. I mean, that's something for you to reflect on. But what you've been able to do is notice that it's there, and it still is there. Like, I think we all have it, to be honest. I don't think that we ever necessarily completely get rid of that. Exactly right. Yeah. So, I'll give you a personal example. So this week, while I've been on retreat with some of my mentoring clients, I noticed that I had almost talked myself out of running a new inner circle program. And I only noticed in hindsight that I had hit that point. And it was when I had redesigned the whole inner circle program to a point where I was actually putting a lot more effort in, a lot more energy in, a lot more value in, and put it at a price that also is going to be, worthy of the effort that I was putting in. Then I was able to see in hindsight that I had actually almost talked myself out of it. And I think that we do, it's almost like this cat and mouse game that we all engage in all the time, and we use whatever strategies we have gotten used to using. So for me, it's about making myself, recruiting myself into the excitement of, now I'm so excited, and I'll be launching that this weekend. I'm so excited about that, because it's actually going to be hard work for me and my mentoring clients, and that means they will get out of the program what they want to get out of it. But until that point, it's a bit like you with fear of disappointment. You're kind of shrinking back and saying, oh, maybe it'd be easier if this didn't happen, like the meeting with the woman at Starbucks. Maybe it'd be easier for me if this didn't happen, because, and you tell yourself a story of, I'm so busy, I haven't got time. But really, I'm scared, just like you, sometimes, of letting people down, of not being good enough. So you have to kind of do the thing that ramps you up to being good enough. And for you, it's catching the thoughts and it's turning them around to, this is the best. I'm wondering, with the woman that you were interviewing at the last minute, did you do anything on Instagram Live? No, in your stories. I might have missed it. Did you do anything in your stories around that process, that thought process?
I don't think so.
Is it something that you would normally do?
If I think about it, I would. So my third story that I wanted to share is related, where I did my first workout in 3.5 months yesterday, because of my neck, breaking my neck. Like I haven't been able to do anything. And so now I'm doing enough physio that I still have 3 more months of physio and everything, but it's getting to the point where I can try. I haven't danced. I haven't done anything. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do my first workout in 3.5 months. And so this is I've wired myself that if something is different and new, I should film it. It's like, I'm going to film this. And then it's like, well, normally when I do my workouts, I would have my shirt off because I'm kicking up energy and I'm just doing it at home. And it's like, oh, I don't know, can I film that? I've gained a little weight. I'm not back down to what I used to be and haven't worked out. And because that was the reason, like, oh, now I have to do it. Like now I have to do it because I caught it, right?
Yeah.
And so I said, hey, I'm doing my first workout in 3.5 months. I'm sure it's going to suck, but I'm back at it. And then I filmed me doing it, and I've got like cupping marks all over my back because Nina did cupping on me. So I look like a diseased hyena or something. And I've gained weight.
Right.
So like, and it's a HIIT workout too. So like you're jumping and stuff. So, extra body fat is like jumping around and jiggling. I'm like, okay, great. Post.
Yeah.
But
did you see, I think it's so important for men and women to see those images. I mean, that whole thing for you, that's about, overcoming that I can't do it, therefore I have to do it, or I don't want to do it, therefore I have to do it. Mel Robbins posted something similar this week about body fat. And that whole message of it's okay not to be perfect. It's okay to have a body that's, it's proving all the things that it's achieved. You're showing on your body all the things that you've achieved. And for you, that whole thing about having gotten past that broken neck and having done that tour anyway and still being in recovery mode, I think it's really important to share that stuff, that it's okay to be human and to have your broken bits and your wobbly bits and all of that and your couple bits. We don't all necessarily go around showing our bodies to people all the time, but in context, I think it's a good thing.
Sure, yeah.
How did you feel after you'd shared it? Like, I know that when just tell me, how did you feel after you'd shared it?
It wasn't the after, it was the decision too.
Yeah.
Right. So after whatever, I'd already decided, great, post, and whether people liked it or not, I mean, it's already gone.
You've moved on. Yeah. You've moved on. Yeah.
But it was a decision too. And it was just catching it consciously. Why am I worried about this? Then now I have to do it. That's the, whatever you said, what strategies do I use was your question. Like, that's the strategy. As soon as I catch it consciously, then I have to do it.
Yeah. Did you talk through the second guessing? Like, did you talk through, or was it just a shot of you working out? Did you talk through the second guessing?
On this one, I didn't. I mean, I have in the past. When I broke my neck and I did a whole video of me in my underwear and Nina dressing me and going to the car and pushing me into the car and all that. And there I started with like, this was my agent, Steve, who challenged me to do this thing. And, here I am in my underwear, can't do anything for myself. So this is my morning routine now for the next whatever days, months. So I did there. I don't think I set that up as much. I focused more on my neck, that like, this is my first workout that I've done, that I'm going to try to do. And here's what I'm doing, this HIIT workout. And then me doing it. And then, oh my God, I'm so out of shape. This is crazy. But my neck held up.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I mean, I went light compared to what I normally would do. It's super light, but because I hadn't done anything in 3.5 months, I'm out of shape. So it was hard. But yeah, I just got to be careful. No weights. Anyway, I focused on that. I didn't focus on I don't know about doing this with my shirt off and jumping around. But yeah, I could have. Thinking back, now I'm pissed that I didn't, right? Like, it didn't consciously think I need to tell that story.
But you see what I'm getting at, yeah? These are the moments. These are like the little human insights that we all have, we all share.
Yeah.
And I think that's the stuff that these opportunities for people to get to know that you have those moments too, and therefore it normalizes it for them, it validates it for them, and it also shows the process that you go through to get yourself past that. While we're talking about that video, the workout one, it was reminding me, and you would have the same, with your mentoring clients. It reminds me of, when I'm encouraging mentoring clients to do a live stream, and there's lots of reasons why I encourage live streaming. I know Hank doesn't love it for video training, but I love the capacity for live streaming to burst through the perfectionism, like that whole taking of imperfect action. Like your live stream, it's there, it's on, it's done, and that's your first step towards reaching an audience for what you're doing with your marketing of your business. You can build on the rest later, sort of thing. I know that one of the reasons I really encourage live streaming over pre-recording for my clients, there's a lot of perfectionism in my industry. It sounds like it very generally speaking, but there's a lot of perfectionism. So if people are pre-recording videos, then they spend all this time agonizing whether or not to post it and so on. But I also know that people do agonize over whether to pull things down. Like they're so scared of judgment and criticism that they've posted something and then they sit with this horrible feeling of wanting to pull it down for fear of judgment, for fear of it not being good enough, or for fear of looking like they're narcissistic. That's the big fear, and so on. Was there a time when you struggled with that? Going back to your early social media stuff, was there a time when you struggled with the whole fear of criticism and judgment and all of that stuff when you posted in the early days? Or were you always comfortable with that?
I mean, I don't know that I was. It's so weird that's an interesting question. I don't even know that I'm comfortable with it now. Mm-hmm. I just like
that's a really important message. It's so important for people to hear that.
But and at the same time, I lean into it so heavily because I'm uncomfortable with it.
Yeah.
Like catching it. So I remember I hired this guy who worked for me for a number of years who had this, $50,000 super camera, right? That they use for movies. And, but did I tell you this story already?
No.
For it to work, you had to be on like the other side of the room from me. So we've got like a giant distance between us and he's zooming in and everything. And then I recorded, 40 videos with him that day. And one of them was our Jordan Peterson video, which is the first Jordan Peterson one we did that has 1 million+ views and took off. But what happened was the microphone didn't work. And he didn't check in his earphone to see if it was working. And the camera, so we used a camera microphone, but the camera was on the other side of the room. And so it's a super echoey thing. And then when he got home, he downloaded the footage and he was like, Evan, oh my God, I'm so sorry. You don't know what I just did. Every video we made today is messed up. Like the audio is brutal. It sounds like you're a million miles away. And no matter what kind of filter I run it through, like we can't save this footage. I can come back tomorrow, no charge. Like, let's figure it out. I'm like, no, let's post it. Because I make mistakes. Because I'm a channel with 1 million+ subscribers and I make mistakes too. And so for an entire month on my YouTube channel, every video had the worst audio of all time. Evan, you sounds like you're in a toilet, man. This is the worst video ever. Evan, can I buy you a microphone? It's only $50. Like, can you invest in your channel? Like nonstop. And I didn't even explain it. I probably could have explained it better. Like, here's why we do this, but it's still so hard to get a message out for everybody to see. So I like, no, this is it. Like, you made it. This is fine. It's my mistake too. I didn't ask you like, hey, does it sound okay? So post every video for an entire month on my channel. Had that. And some pretty big videos, So
I'm just thinking, when you say it's really hard to get a message out, I'm just wondering, when I look, so as a consumer, let's say, when I look at your YouTube channel or if I look at your Instagram profile, there's the consistent branding theme, which is really, I know that's deliberate and it's consistent and it's great. And I'm wondering if there's a twist on the theme visually for those videos that are all about, and I don't know what the theme would be called, but, those videos that are showing the humanity, showing the problem solving, showing the getting past the difficult emotions, so that people know to look out for those particular videos where you're taking them with you on those problem solving journeys. Because I'm a huge fan of imperfect action. Huge. I mean, that's... I'd still be stuck in perfectionism. I would never have done any social media if I wasn't. But I'm also, I remember one of my very first conversations with Steve around taking people on the journey. And there's a video I did almost a year ago now explaining, a staffing crisis that happened in my business. And we were talking about that on the retreat, and the people at the retreat had all watched it. It was very emotional. And there was something about taking people through that process at the time it was unfolding, not throwing people under a bus, but exploring my reactions to it and my takeaways from it that stood out. Good morning, sweetheart. That stood out as a learning for them to witness something unfolding that was unusual and so on. Now, I've just got children waking up, so I'm sorry about the background noise. Okay. So I'm just wondering if there's something visually in your channel that people can notice that's a theme. There's a theme that runs through those specific videos. I don't know how you.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, could we do a better job? Yes. Just like anything, like the video for any platform, if you send a tweet out, it's only going to hit a certain percentage. This crisis where I posted 200 videos at the same time, I posted 3 different times on 3 different days to my community tab, which is the best way to be able to do it, and still only hitting the fraction. But that's it. You know what I mean? That's part of it. Yeah. So there's a lot of people who will watch it and will have no idea, and I've disappointed them. But and like I did my best. I got to keep moving on.
Yeah,
I can easily. Everything you're saying is true.
I love those journeys, though. Yeah, I love those journeys that as we're talking about them today, we're unpacking the process that you go through, and I love the idea of people being able to share some of that with you. Whether it's because it's beneficial for you or whether it's because it's beneficial for them, which is what I actually feel. It's beneficial for people to see that the people who they look up to, who always seem to have their shit together, don't necessarily always have it together. It doesn't necessarily come easily to be that positive. There are moments when it's actually a conscious decision. I think you talk about this, and I certainly talk about this, making conscious decisions about how you're going to react to a certain thing. You have your initial gut reaction, and then you decide whether or not that's where you're going to go from that point. Because that's what you do, is you go through that conscious process. Well, I'm not going to let this catastrophizing or these what ifs ruin this interview with this woman. I'm deciding that this is actually an awesome opportunity.
And this is what Mark and I get into differences of, because he'll sit in things. He'll sit in like, this is terrible, and just feel and like, dude, not consciously. I might sit in something, but as soon as I catch it, I got to get out. Like that will destroy me. So what should I do? You want me to catch them and feel those moments more?
Step people through it with you. It's almost like it's make that subconscious process visible. So all the stuff that I've taught you, I guess the process that it's worried me, some of the conversations we've had, it's worried me that interpretation could be that I'm asking you to sit too long in negative emotion, because that's not really what I've been wanting you to do. What I've been wanting you to do is to be conscious of stuff as it's happening, and recognizing it when it's happening, so that you can then go, right, I'm going to talk my people through this mindset or this headspace that I'm in, and A, it might help you problem solve it anyway, and B, it's sharing with your community that human side of problem solving emotionally, problem solving a dilemma, or problem solving a fear, or problem solving anger. I don't know about you, I always feel better after I've spoken to the audience that listens to the stuff or watches the stuff that I do. It energizes me. It just energizes me. I always come away with a smile on my face, right? So that process in itself is useful, but I think it's more important that it's communicating and normalizing that we all have these moments. So in terms of what to do with it.
Can I just touch on that for a second? Because something just sparked an idea. It's definitely something I need to work on, because one of the things I have to work on a lot with my wife is when I'm dealing with something, I don't want to talk about it unless you can help me. Like if something is wrong, me telling you about it does 0 for me. I need to fix it or just move on with it. But just talking about how something was bad doesn't make me feel better. So I mean, my friends, whatever, I don't care. But my wife likes to know what's happening, what's going on. And so I had to think, like what happened and what's going on? And if there's a problem, I need to explain what the problem is, even if she can't help me solve it. But for me, I have zero need for it. It doesn't make me feel better. So it's not a natural thing to like just go in and just say, hey, I'm struggling with this thing right now. Because that's not therapy.
Let's think about the interview.
Yeah.
You know, this new person. You know, I can see a very Evan video. You know, hey guys, bringing you in on the inside of you know, I've got an interview coming up with someone I don't know anything about, and it's making me anxious and nervous, and I have to do some research. So I go into it without this fear of not being good enough for her. You know, I think that's like a less than a minute conversation with your audience around. You guys probably have moments where you feel like this too, and let me know in the comments how that presents itself. You know, that kind of stuff is
I need to catch it. Yeah, I could do it. I could do it.
Yeah.
I could do it.
So not wallowing. Not
for
this,
sure.
This is shitty and full stop. This is a learning opportunity for me and for you. And how can we share this together, kind of thing.
I know exactly what to do, and I know how I would say it. That would be on brand and like truthful to me. I'm not catching it. I'm not worried about doing it. I'm just not catching it. So I have to catch it. And if I catch it, because as soon as I catch it, I flip the positive, and I'm not showing people along the way before I go positive. It's so fast that I have to like catch it in the middle of a blinking eye to then like, pause.
Yes.
Instagram, how are we doing right now? I hate my life because of XYZ, and here we go. We're going to change it, right? I need to catch it better.
So that's the point of the journaling. So that's what you were doing this past month, of catching these moments and writing them down and noticing those elements, like when they present, how it feels. Really important, noticing what words are going on in here, so you can write down the actual words that you're saying to yourself, because we all have this little inner monologue that comments on what's going on around us. And that's where the I'm not good enough. And you'll find a lot of it's shorthand. I suck. I'm sure you say that to yourself a lot. Jotting that down. So what that is actually going to do, that's making it conscious for you. And then what happens is your brain will recognize it more easily the next time. So if you keep going with that for a while longer, maybe between now and when we talk again, by the time we talk again, I bet you'll have discovered that you're noticing these things quicker.
And to film it.
Yeah. Let us in.
I'm noticing it, but it's after the fact. Like all these stories came up, like, oh yeah, like I felt that, and then the workout one, I guess, but I didn't verbalize the thing. I just did it. So it was more. I didn't fully break down what was happening. And part of it was like knowing that I had cupping all over my back. I wanted to do it without explaining it, just to add more like. Just to add more judgment. Like, what happened to your back, right? Without explaining it, just to feel more judgment, right?
Why?
Because I love it. Because the fact that you're going to judge me for it, as soon as I can feel it consciously, then I'm going to do it just because. Like, I want that. I love diving into that.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So I don't want to explain what's on my back. And some people might say, they might understand that as copper, and it's like, or think that's weird. Will judge you for. I love that, but probably like subconsciously, I'm afraid of it. So as soon as I catch it, though, then I don't want to give as much context just because. Like when I painted my nails and did 40 videos with it, I didn't explain at all what was happening. I just showed up with orange nails with white racing stripes on them, right? Just because, just to eat it, just to know, right? But that's the conscious Evan who's crushing it, not the subconscious who's like afraid of it.
That's right. I mean, I think that's the game, isn't it? That's the game that we play. It's the motivation game too that we play. We have all sorts of tricks, like I was saying before, ramping up my inner circle program. So I know that I will have a lot of hard work to do, and I will have to find time to do that. That's got me so motivated for it. Like, I just can't wait. It's the best.
Don't say it with that tone. Don't say it with that tone.
Sarcasm. my point being, these are the motivation games we play, and that's, inviting criticism, inviting judgment. I think a lot of us who do social media get to a point where we start doing that because we've overcome the fear of criticism and judgment. We almost want it now because it's like, I dare you. This little word bracelet that I wear is defiant. That's my little word for, that's my permanent raised middle finger to the people who would criticize me.
So let me ask you this. So this is spawning something. When it's only me, it's fine. Like, you're going to judge me for my back or my extra fat while I'm not working out or whatever. Awesome. But when it involves somebody else, like, I don't want to show up to this session and not have done my thing. So I not only kept track and started doing stuff half an hour before coming on, I also rewound our last episode just to put me back into the test mindset and framework and what we talked about, and just so that I kind of know what we're doing when I get back on here. Even if you didn't, so when it involves somebody else, I want to make it happen. If it's you're going to judge me just for me, then whatever, I don't care. Yeah.
No, I get that. And thank you.
Sure, but it's also not just you. It's anybody.
I know that.
Right? Like the IG woman or somebody else. I'm going to go in, even though I know I can crush it.
Yeah.
I've done it a lot, whatever. It's going to be great. And if I just winged it, it could, but I still feel like I'm cheating her. I'm disappointing her, or even my own abilities of what I could create for my audience. I'm disappointing my audience by not being at least somewhat prepared.
Do you know what I think would be a good exercise for you, just for yourself? And you can talk. You don't have to necessarily talk with me about it, but
taking notes. I'll talk about it. Let's go. Defiant. Just because you said that, we have to talk about it.
Yeah. I think we've both got a streak of defiance, haven't we? Can I tell you a little story first? No, I won't. No, I'll tell you what I need you to do first.
Okay.
What I think would be a good thing to do is.
It's very exciting.
This is a journaling thing, right? So this is looking around the underneath.
Okay.
And letting some. Sorry, I've got my pre-dawn brain on. All of those thoughts that you've been writing down, all of that stuff, it's coming from somewhere, right? Okay. And we know that there's this thread of fear of disappointment, fear of not being good enough. And I think spending some time free journaling around this. Now, it might be that you use a journaling prompt, like, if I knew I was good enough, I would feel, or I would think, or I would be, or I would do, and exhausting each of those prompts fully, like repeating the same sentence beginning, and then finishing the sentence differently each time. And you keep going with that. It might be a whole page, might be 3 pages. You keep going, you exhaust it, and then you push through that and keep going further. When you do that sort of journaling, you're actually unlocking the repetitiveness of the sentences, lets you go into autopilot a little bit. So you're actually unlocking what's really underneath. And you might find some interesting things. And that's for anybody. Anybody can do this kind of activity. It's actually really useful. You can journal like this on your 12-month goals. There's any number of ways to use this kind of strategy. But I think with that fear of disappointment, I think it would be really interesting exercise for you to dig at that a little bit and see if you can and see where, not only where it's coming from, but also what else it's hiding.
So if I knew I was good enough, I would blank.
I would feel, yeah. Well, and it would. You might have one journaling prompt that ends with feel. So if I knew I was good enough, I would feel. Okay. The other one might be, if I knew I was good enough, I would do. If I knew I was good enough, I would be. If I knew I was good enough, I would have.
Have. Okay.
Have. And it might not be materialistic things.
Yeah.
So that's a really interesting one to see where that takes you in particular, actually, because it might be that I have a sense of calm. I have more time. I have, so on. Be, feel, think. Did I get think on the list? I would think.
Think?
Yeah.
So we have feel, do, be, have, think.
Think. Yeah, that's probably enough. And you don't have to do all of them. Just choose the ones that resonate. It might be 1 or 2. I'll look at you.
I'm going to do all of them, Tess. I'm going to do all of them.
Don't get all perfect. I mean, I'm not giving you a score. You don't get a prize for doing all of them.
It's not about the prize. It's about the process.
Good. Go for it then.
Of course.
But you have to exhaust each one. Don't just do one answer, one sentence of
like a
each
page
one.
on
Yeah,
each,
you
or
got
however long you can go.
however long on each. Yeah.
I'll try to do a page on each. I'll do a page on each.
Yeah, see how you go. Aim for that. Go further. If you get in the flow, keep going.
Right.
So, we did a version of that on my retreat for 12-month goal setting. In 12 months, I'll have blah, 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 blah. And that actually really helped the guys on retreat plan their 12-month goals and plan their business planning and their marketing planning and everything. Like, it just laid a really good, solid foundation.
A page in this book has 27 lines.
Yeah, it's a small book.
Really? That's, I think 27 times 5, that's a big, isn't that not big?
Depends how big your writing is. That's not an A4 book. It's a small book.
This is actually Mark Jager's book. This is his company. No, but is that not enough? 27 for each of, so if I knew I was not good enough, I would feel 27 different things.
How big is the book? Hold it next to your head. How big is your book?
27 lines.
Yeah, see, that would, a sentence.
It's a journal. You said journal. Lines. What do you want? You want me to write in like a...
No. What I mean is that I would fill that page in like, I don't know, half a dozen sentences.
No. I'm just going to feel...
Yeah.
Oh, you want a sentence? I'm thinking I would just feel...
You've got to know. You've got to write the whole thing. You've got to write the whole thing. Oh. Because it's while you're repeating the start, it's the repetitiveness of the start of those sentences that actually gives your brain time to visualize where you're going with the rest of the sentence.
So you want like a multiple sentence answer for one
you're
thing?
going to hate that.
No, wow.
Yeah, you're going to hate it.
Listen, I don't even know what I'm going to write at all for any of these
things. It's a journaling thing. Yeah.
I hate journaling. I hate journaling so much.
Yeah, and you hate relaxation. You hate all that stuff. I know.
All right.
I'm deliberately writing a list of all the things you hate, and I'm just going to make you do them.
Make me do it constantly, and like here I am. I got to film it. I hate this, guys. Doctor Tess is a mess, causing me stress. It's the best. Let's go. Yeah.
You and whose army? I think just play around with it. There's no real rules, but just play around with it. It's a good journaling exercise. It really does release some stuff. And you'll always be surprised by what comes out.
I'll do it. I'll do at least a page on each then. Man, I legit right now I'm stressed out. I have no idea what I'm going to do. I feel like I have no answers for any of it. So I'm going to sit there with the blank page.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It is.
So this is interesting. I'm stressed out and I feel like I'm going to crush it at the same time. Like I have no idea what I'm going to do. If you ask me right now to answer any of these, I have no answer. And it causes anxiety. And I feel like I'm going to destroy this thing. It's like this. So how do I got to catch that before? Anyway, I don't know.
Yeah.
This is the...
So and do you know what? And there'll be some stuff that'll come out of there that'll surprise you, but there'll also be stuff that comes out of there you think, this is a great idea for a video, or this is a great thing to share with my audience, or this is a great thing to, I don't know, run a workshop on.
What I honestly thought about was doing a session with, because Mark lives so much in the negativity, just have him ask me negative questions. Like whatever he's struggling with, or what's a negative emotion that he's feeling, ask me when I feel that, and then just sharing some kind of story. Because unless I'm prompted, it's really hard to, I don't live in that world. So, but with a prompt, you can like, hey, tell me when you ask me, right? I can pull them out. Yeah. Okay, let me ask you this quick, because I'm going to Tony Robbins next week. So we got this on just before I left. What should I work on when I'm there? I mean, I don't need to work on anything. But
do you know the first thing that came to mind?
Yeah. I'm excited. Yes.
That whole not being the stereotypical alpha male motivational person. You know, who you wear that hat quite proudly, right?
Really? You think I'm an alpha male? I don't feel like I'm an alpha.
No, I said you're not the alpha male.
Great. Yeah, okay, great. The non-alpha male.
I'm going to start pulling faces. I'm going to start pulling faces in a minute. You wear the hat proudly of not being the stereotypical alpha male speaker, which of course Tony Robbins embodies, right?
Okay.
Okay. I'm choosing my words carefully. So I think reflecting on that and reflecting on what his style triggers in you and journaling around that somehow, just documenting your thoughts about that, documenting feelings about that. He's a smart guy, and there's lots of what he says that obviously that's why you're going. But I'm wondering about that stereotypical big blustery stuff, what that triggers in you.
What his
the stuff that you don't
triggers in me.
Mm.
I don't even know how to answer that question, but I'll journal.
Because I think there's a real conflict, not just for you specifically, but because I feel this too sometimes. There's a real conflict in when you find your own voice, and then there are people who you admire, but they don't speak from the same place as you do. And so there's almost like this inner turmoil going on around, I really love their message, but I really don't like that style or that approach or those words, right?
Well, I've got Steve Jobs and Kanye West on my wall.
Yeah.
Who are like Kanye West says crazy, stupid things. And Steve Jobs was I don't want to be a father like Steve Jobs.
No.
But I want to be a father like my father, but I want to be a visionary. I love pulling from like two things from one person, but not everything.
Yeah. But you asked me about going to Tony Robbins. I'm curious to know, just with this whole mindset stuff that we're pulling apart at the moment.
What is his style triggering me?
Yeah, what does it trigger in you in terms of whether it's motivating you in a certain direction to be different in a certain way, or whether it's, I don't know. I'm not talking about negative necessarily. I'm really curious to know how, comparing your style to his, what that brings up for you with this other theme that we've got going on at the moment in the back of your mind, of course. But I'm curious to know what it brings up for you. Because I think I'm trying to think of an equivalent, and I can't bring one to mind. There are a few examples in the psychology world that I love the work that they've done, but I don't like them as a person. I'm not saying you don't like Tony Robbins as a person, but I'm saying I would feel triggered by certain elements of their personal styles if I was in an auditorium listening to them speak, and I would find that challenging because I love the work that they've done in the psychology field. Okay, does that make sense?
100%. I feel like
you're trying to predict, aren't you? I can see the cogs whirring. You're trying to predict already. You're trying to answer the question now. I want you to go away and observe your reactions and document them.
My default, I know, and that's always what you want me to do, which is great. I try to solve it right away. You're like, no, you got to sit on it and stew. Like, I don't want to do that, Tess. I have to do it.
That's the rule.
The whole like Tony or whoever does something that I don't believe in, or has part of a message that I don't like. I don't have a problem with.
Yeah.
I mean, of all the people I've worked around. So
we're all intelligent and able to pick and choose.
Yeah.
But I think it's the in the moment reactions that I'm interested in. I think intellectually we're all smart enough to pick and choose which bits we subscribe to. But I'm interested about that in the moment.
In the moment reactions. Okay.
And I'm also curious to know whether there's any of that I'm not good enough stuff that comes up. You said something, we've touched on this before, about was it the YouTube? No. Anyway, not feeling. Wow, was it earlier on? I can't remember now. Something about not feeling good enough at an event to join everyone else.
It might be not good. I mean, I remember at the first event in particular, people just being able to totally let loose and be out of control. I'm not really out of control of my body.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So when people are freaking and yelling out and like crying and just screaming, and that's not really. At the last one, I purposely said, I'm going to be more out of control, whatever, try to enjoy the moment more. I've never really been like lost or taken away by something, right? Like a song comes on and this girl just stands up and just starts dancing and like, she's just totally gone. Like, I don't do that. Yeah. So I'll try to do.
You don't have to. You don't have to do that. I've now got sunrise light shining in my eyes. I think, I mean, there's that. There's the be in the moment thing. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's the Australian cynicism or what it is, but I just would find that hell on the stick. So,
But I like exploring it just to see, right? I mean, I did IG Live with a medium. I've never done medium stuff. She's telling me that on July 17th, I'm going to get a deal offered to me that I'm going to be afraid to say yes to, and I need to say yes to it. Like, okay, great. I'm waiting. July 17th. Let's go. Bring it.
Did she specify which time zone?
No, but that's a pretty specific, right?
It is a pretty specific reason.
So, and then, Mark, who's very cynical, goes, I don't believe in any of that stuff. Like, okay, great. I mean, I don't even know that I do, but I'm willing to, I'm not just going to shut the door. Like, maybe it's the greatest thing of all time. I don't know.
Could be.
Could be.
Who was it? It was telling that someone else was saying something about, it was Ellen DeGeneres was talking about that in her interview with David Letterman. There's a new series of Letterman interviews on Netflix. Yeah. So she had an experience like that where someone told her this very specific thing that when she was whatever age, she would be offered something that would change her life forever, and she could do it for 20 years if she wanted to, and she'd be richer and more famous than she ever imagined, blah, blah, blah. And this all happened when she was in the depths of failure post the Ellen show, the comedy that she had. And then, true to the medium's word, she got offered the talk show.
So the specific advice was, I need to meditate between now and July 11th.
That's
harder
really
than I
hard
normally do. So, okay, great, I'll do it. I'm now meditating twice a day, even though I've never found tons of value in meditation, but I'm doing it again. And then by July, I'm going to go on a trip. And then on July 17th, there's going to be 2 people who come to me who I know. And one of them is going to give me a business opportunity that I'm going to be afraid of or whatever. And I need to accept that business opportunity from the person I know.
See, now you've set it up that everyone you know is going to offer you something on the 17th of July. Hoping you'll say.
Well, maybe.
You can't post this video until after the 17th.
After the 17th, just because. Yeah. So, well, I mean, people who saw my IG Live saw it too. But it's going to be a significant deal on July 17th. And I'm open, whatever. Maybe it happens. Great. I'm open to it. So maybe that's just my introvertness or whatever, but I'm willing to try it until it's like, I'll trust somebody by default and then show me that you're not trustworthy instead of the other way around. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm a bit like that too. I get that. All right. So what else? I mean, how long is the Tony thing for? I mean, how much? I just feel like it would be torture for me. How long do you subject yourself to the Tony Robbins experience?
It's 4 days. I'm there for 3. It's actually kind of 2.5, but a Tony day is like 8 a.m. to midnight kind of thing, right? It's crazy.
Yeah, huge. I think that's probably why I feel like I would run a mile, is I know that they're just so big and so all encompassing, and it triggers all my introvert stuff. I think that's what it is. It triggers all my introvert stuff.
Now, if that was my thinking, I have to go attack it.
Yeah.
And there's on day 1, there's no bathroom breaks. He stands on stage for whatever, how many hours without going to the bathroom. And if you go to the bathroom or get food, you're missing content. It's wild. But for the most part, you can get through it. Yeah, anyway. I'm going with my friend Alex, who's an entrepreneur who I've invested in. And so we'll see. Yeah. It's my 3rd time, so I know what to expect.
Good luck.
But so like, what am I working on for myself? So you're saying just look at Tony's style and what triggers?
And just notice. Notice if there's anything that comes up in that clash of cultures in style of his presenting style, his persona, and your presenting style and your persona. Just notice what that brings
Very
up
different.
for you.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be in the front row.
Yeah.
Front row, so he's going to be spitting on me, and I'll get firsthand view of what
he'll be flinging sweat on you and everything.
Oh yeah. It's the best.
That's what I call an immersive experience. It's
very immersive. Yeah. He goes all out. Like he goes all out in all those events. So yeah. All right, man. I think that's a lot of journaling.
A lot of stuff.
Yeah.
It is, and it's I just triggered Alexa.
Alexa.
Alexa, stop. It is a lot of journaling. It is hard work if it's not something that you do naturally and normally, but it's still worth doing. And I find that when people do this stuff, they do always find something unusual, in terms of surprising themselves. You know, wow, I didn't really get a wow moment. Most people get a wow moment. It's worth doing. Yeah.
Does it make a difference if it's written or video?
I think it needs to be written.
Got very
And
excited.
because
Video.
I know.
Watch
You
me
can
go
do
through
that
this
too.
process of struggling, I guess.
Yeah, you can do the video too, but the process of writing, that manual process, is using a part of the brain that isn't being necessarily accessed when you
Right.
It's
fine.
Yeah.
We'll do it.
Let's not get into neuroanatomy and
We'll do it.
stuff.
I don't like writing. My hand gets tired.
I know, and
I
know, my hand gets tired too.
It's fine.
Oh, look. Oh, we've got sulking happening now. I love it. I triggered the sulk. This is good.
Triggered the sulk. Make me write by hand. All right. Okay. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
If I knew I was good enough, I would feel, do, be, have, think, a page on each.
Just pick the ones that resonate the most. You don't necessarily have to do them all, but pick the ones that resonate the most.
That's not happening. I'm going to do them all.
Yeah,
and then I need to catch more moments when I'm before the conscious switch and film it to take people on the journey. And then what does Tony's style trigger in me?
So this is lots of homework. It's
the most you've ever given me.
Yeah.
Mostly because of the journaling.
The homework you didn't do.
The journaling is...
But look, Evan, it's
out of control.
You're going to be on a plane, aren't you?
I'm going to be on a plane. You want me to do it on the plane?
Yeah. Do it on the plane, man. You don't have to do it I don't know, it doesn't take that long. I usually tell people, go and sit in a cafe where turn your phone off, get someone else to bring you the coffee, and just sit there with the journal and write. It doesn't take long.
I'll do it.
But so your homework is you're still catching those thoughts and writing them down the same way you were. So your thought journal, you're catching those. You're still doing that. Yeah. Separate exercise, sitting down, doing the journaling activity. That's 2.
Wow.
Noticing what triggers pop up when you're with Tony Robbins.
Right. Okay. That's a condensed. That's a
So
condensed thing.
It sounds like a lot, but there's only one thing that's happening throughout, and that's the catching the thoughts and jotting them down.
Right.
And the 4th is if during this month you feel like you can start bringing people in on the journey with the videos, then go for it. But you're going to do that anyway. You do videos anyway. So it's really not adding an awful lot to your life.
I don't know about that. I feel like it's adding a lot, but I'll still do it. I feel like I need to. Listen, everybody, I'm going to stop YouTube for the next month and just focus on this. No videos coming up because of Dr. Tess. No, we'll do it.
Yeah, blame me.
I'll get it done.
You'll get it.
We'll get it done.
Yeah.
Dallas is, I don't know how many hours flight, but we'll get that done. Cool.
But it's more than 1 hour, right?
Oh, it's more than 1 hour. Yeah. It's an hour and a half to New York. Now Dallas is going to be another at least 2 hours on top of that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right.
And have you made your decision to move to New York or Toronto?
Move to Toronto. Yeah. No, I've decided to move to Vancouver. No, I haven't.
Nicer people.
Yeah, that's what they say. No.
Best country in the world, recent standings.
Do you know, I remember in the 80s, ever since the 80s, and I don't know what was going on in the 80s, might have been the financial crisis we were having here at the time. It has been this thing. If I was ever to leave Australia, I'd go and live in Canada. And
right?
But I know I must have had like some kind of psychic premonition of all these awesome Canadians I was going to get to know.
I think you need to chase that down.
Yeah, sure. Moving is a big thing now, but we're coming at the end of the year for a couple of months in New York.
To Canada? Oh, to New York. Okay.
New York. You'll be in New York anyway. I know you go there like every second week.
New York it's just a little too close to Steve. Just a little too close. You want to be like an hour and a half away flight, like Toronto.
That's so funny. He ditched me this week because they were running off early for their 4th of July weekend, which I completely approve of.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I'll have to catch him up next week.
Cool.
Fill him in on all the stuff. I am going to have a massage today after this big retreat that I've run. I'm going to go and look after myself today. So that's
well deserved. Well
Thank you very
deserved.
much. Thank you
Cool.
very much.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, Tess. I got homework to do. I appreciate you and the push,
got
as
ton of
always.
You're welcome. I will talk to you soon.
All right. Happy weekend. If you want to see how Tess kicked my butt the last time, check a video right there next to me. Continue to believe. We'll see you there.